the paper co-author. So, Dr. Nandi Abdulrazak Dabar. She is a lecturer at the English department and taught almost all the branches of English language and linguistics. She has BA in English language and teacher, MA in psycholinguistics, and PhD in discourse analysis. And actually, she supervised and discussed MA and PhD theses and dissertations. And now they're going to present their presentation together.
Thank you very much. Our paper is the implementation of university has two parts, the theoretical one and the practical. Assistant Professor Dr. Yanja is going to present the theoretical part, then I will continue with the practical part. Yes, so old fashioned classrooms is what
the abstract.
Yeah. So the abstract of this paper is, we are talking basically about problem-based learning, that's PBL. It has been used as a teaching strategy in departments at some universities. Students and teachers are awareness and the large classes with shortage of time to cover all the syllabus. This paper actually is an attempt to implement PBL in EFL classes and find out its effectiveness. So the purpose we did this paper is that the aim of this paper is to describe and analyze PBL and to implement it in EFL classes and to find the influence, the development of students' skill, is it helpful or not? So the method was to use in one of the elective courses for the fourth year students, and then there was a questionnaire which was distributed to find out how effective this strategy and how it actually helps to develop the skills of the students. Yeah, so the old-fashioned way of teaching in the classroom has failed actually to give the necessary. We need more things. We are, as teachers, we always think of new ideas, new methods to help to to develop the skills which we need to teach to the students. The PBL approach is student-centered learning strategy. It is actually, some people may think that we are putting the burden on the students, but this is actually not true. We are helping the students to find out problems, to solve problems. In this way, we will be able, as teachers, to help students to develop their skills. Yeah, the problem of the study, the PBL has not been used as a teaching strategy in English department, College of Languages, Salahat University, and we're not sure about the other universities. So we tried to implement it in this class. It was an elective class, the fourth stage, and the aim was to describe and analyze it and to give two problems to the students and try to reach to the solutions. Yeah. So PBL is applied by organizing the class into small groups, and the teacher needs the facilitator to provide a number of easy problems to give them to the students and ask them, guide them. So as teachers, we work as triggers to brainstorm the students, to ask them to think, to find solutions, actually to engage them. What we talked about half an hour ago. So to engage these students. Yes, big classes are difficult to handle, but if we put them in small groups, then we can solve this problem too. There are steps in PBL. These steps are important. First of all, we have to discuss the problems, define them in the light of their prior knowledge, forming hypothesis. We have to give them a problem. Then we ask them if they know about the problem, and then we ask them to, we formulate, let's say, kind of hypothesis. Then we setting their learning goals. What do they want? Why? And ending with organizing further learning. Yes, and after sorting out their solutions, they present them to the whole class or to larger groups. So in this case, we are teaching the students to not only think by themselves, not only search by themselves, also to participate in the class and to engage other students with them in discussing the solutions which they have found to the problems. Yeah, the advantages of this kind of learning is that it provides the opportunity for students to learn and use what they learned in their future careers, and also develop the critical thinking and problem solving skills in early stages, because it's really very important. And it actually helps them in their self-assessment. As teachers, we are always trying to ask students to self-assessment, and this is a very big part of finding out why and how and when and to what goals they are doing all this. I mean, the process of learning.
And also to provide science safe environment.
Yes, that's very important.
Okay, now it's my turn to present the procedures and the methodology, the practical part. Actually, the procedures are divided into three phases. The first one, needs analysis, then implementation, then evaluation. With the needs analysis, we both conducted 3 workshops for the teachers, not only of English department, of other departments also, since they teach languages. We presented the concept of problem-based learning. We told them about the steps, the advantages, the way they presented in the classroom, and its importance and how to implement it. Then in these workshops, we did something. First, we gave them some questions about the activities that they do in order to see whether these activities match with the steps of problem-based learning, to see whether they implement it indirectly without being aware that this is problem-based learning, or maybe they are aware of it and they implement it. Then we gave them examples of problem-based in order to make them be aware of how it is used. Then the advantages of using PBL in the classes. Then suggestions were taken from them, from teachers, on how to implement it in different classes, especially in classes of literature and languages. Then we compared the methods that the teachers use with the problem-based learning to show them the similarities and differences, and to convince them that this is something normal. It is not like a burden that they are afraid of. No, it is one of the strategies, like other strategies, that needs creativity, engagement, hard working. Then the results and the suggestions of the teachers were taken by us in consideration when we conducted this research. The second step was the implementation. It was done by me. There was 3 elective courses in the department. Methodology was one of them. Creative writing was another one, and translation was the third one. So we interpretation. We gave these 3 course books or syllabus to the students and talked about the syllabus, and they selected methodology. I think it was 86 students. Yes, we divided them because we wanted all the courses to be taught by the students, not only this course. So 36 students participated in this course in the academic year 2018-2019. It was an elective. We started in December, and we explained, the person we explained what is problem-based, its importance, its steps, how to do it, and as a piloting, we did something together in order to know how this is done, and we followed in this course new methods of teaching, like cooperative and collaborative learning, brainstorming, discussion, teamwork, the real teamwork, not just they are sitting and sitting together and that's all. No, distribution of activities, sharing ideas, making small rival groups among themselves, each group, in order to discuss the things and in order to search also on the Google the information about the problems that we give them. Then we gave them 2 problems in this semester, and they were related to their subject. It was methods of teaching. So the problems that we gave them were related to the subject, because in this course, we used problem-based learning as a strategy, not as a curriculum. Because as a curriculum, the whole curriculum is problems. But as a strategy, it is one of the methods of teaching that we use to teach that subject. The first problem, how to increase students' motivation to study harder and to do the assignments on time. Since we face many problems with doing assignments on time, with increasing their motivation, we try to give them this authentic problem in order to solve it. And it was interesting. It is authentic, it is interesting, and it relates to their life at university. Then they distributed the tasks among themselves, as we said in the steps. Let's go back to the steps. They discussed the problem. They define the problem in the light of their prior knowledge, what we know about it, what we do not know, in order to search and find it. They formed hypotheses. The solution may be this and this and that. They hypothesize these solutions. Then setting their learning goals. So what we are going to do and how to achieve these goals. Then organize further learning, what we need to learn in order to learn it. So they searched and find some information, and they shared ideas also. Their prior knowledge, the sharing idea and the discussion and the brainstorming, in addition to Googling it to find some more solutions. Then, after they come out with the solutions, they presented it in front of the class. This is the first problem. The second problem was about how to deal with the phenomenon of group absentees at university level. We know that before the holiday, after the holiday, there is 1 month. On 1 month absentees between the holidays. So it was really an authentic problem, and it was interesting for them to see, and it was also like a reflection for me to know, to go into their minds and see what are the reasons, why they do this, and how they can solve it. So the solutions also were organized and were and this problem was given to them as one of the questions in the midterm exam, because in the previous one they worked in groups. Here, I wanted to know whether the skills they gained from the group work and from the first problem is implemented here or not, individually, to know whether they can develop some skills individually, not only in groups. The third step was evaluation, to see whether they achieve the aims or not, the aims of problem solving, whether they develop the skills that we mentioned and the advantages that they will develop, the skills that they will develop as a result of solving problems. So we did the Google form, prepared Google form, 6 skills that problem-based learning will develop. And there was another item, other skills that we develop, because let's see what they think that they develop, they know themselves better. Validity and reliability of the question was obtained. The question was sent via email to all the students to find the effectiveness of this teaching strategy. And here I wrote the link of the question. The conclusion. The conclusion regarding the workshop, that the teachers were partially aware of problem-based learning, though they did not use it completely in their classes. And they follow some of the procedure occasionally, like dividing groups in the students into the group, putting them in some situation and asking them what to do in this situation, something like that, but not the full PBL strategy. Although EFL teachers have positive attitude towards it, like now we heard in that class, they do not implement it, saying that we are still concerned with the large classes, with the students' low level, with the coverage of syllabus, all these executed. So the teachers do not apply for these reasons. And each teacher the EFL teachers were eager to learn more about this. They want to implement it and they want to use it inside the class, but they want more workshops, more training for it. For the questionnaire, the students developed some skills like problem-solving skills, self-directed learning, effective collaborating and communication skills, and intrinsic motivation, but with different ratio. Not with the same level, but with different ratio. The second conclusion is that they developed other potentials and skills like creative and critical thinking, leadership, planning, questioning, class management, and self-reliance. EFL students experienced brainstorming when they solved the problems, and they were freely involved in the healthy and safe environment provided by the process in order to become self-directed learners. We recommended some points for the teachers that they need some training. There should be some training in the departments. Yeah. And they need at least 2 or 3 problems in the semester or in the year, not to make the whole curriculum problems. No, they can give 2 or 3 in one semester, 1 year, then the students will become aware of how to do it, then later on they can understand. And teachers can solve the problems of large classes by dividing the class into small groups. Do all the assignments and solve the problems. And problem-based learning is one of the best teaching strategies to develop students' soft skills. So the teachers need to use this strategy and provide a safe environment for students. And these are the references.
And this could be done even online. You can divide chambers or rooms with people. So this is, I think, very, very appropriate for the online process of teaching. So we don't need nowadays to say we have big classes or we are teaching online. And no, this is a very important way of engaging students in the process of teaching and learning.
Thank you very much. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much for our 2 amazing presenters, Professor Fatma Hassan Mazadani and Dr. Jandaba. Dear audience and teachers, here you have any question you can ask.
I have just a comment, just a positive comment. The last point that you mentioned that it's not necessarily to have all the class done by problem-based method, but just 2, for example, 2 problems that will make them informed. Yeah.
Not to be overloaded. It's not one. It's very interesting, but not because I have overloaded.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because they are not.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have. This you have question online? Online?
Questions online? Questions online? Can you send us?
Yeah. Okay, so I have a question. Why problem-based question? Like, what is the assumption?
Yeah. Yeah, because we have the traditional method of teaching, and we have some interactive strategies that are used in the class. So, problem-based learning is one of these strategies that develops many skills, and we nowadays want to develop skills, soft skills, and to prepare the students, the teachers, and the students need to be prepared for the market. Because if they have the communicative skills, if they have the leadership skills, if they have the critical thinking skills, all these will help them to get job in the market. This is one. Second, to develop their skills in real life, to get them from them in their life, to prepare them for their careers in the future. So this is why we thought of this problem-based, and since it is also related to methodology, methods of teaching, In method of teaching also, there are many questions about teaching ways. So we can make all these like problems and give them to the students. It is part of the curriculum, and we can design it like problems and give it.
Yeah, so in a sense, agreeing with problem-based learning comes from certain assumptions, obviously. One of the assumptions that you just said, job market. Are we sure that these skills are really required in the job market? Or this is,
Communication skills, yes.
Yeah.
Leadership skills, yes.
I mean,
Teamwork skills, yes.
yeah, but what I'm saying is there a study in the job market in Kurdistan that says those things actually?
No, but we have this list of conditions that they ask for when anyone applies to the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
because we have our children and always they search for jobs, so we see the list of the requirements. Yeah. Everywhere. Communication skills. Yeah.
Do we need to search whether those skills are really required or just some formality?
No, the literature they talk about it, and the literature and the books.
Yeah, but about Kurdistan. I mean, of course, the literature might be about a specific country where those skills are required.
Yes.
But the job market in Kurdistan, that's the problem that I have. We're always following the job market, but no one's really going to search and do a research about actually what the job market requires. So we're kind of following something that might not be.
There was a presentation at the morning session about this job. Yes.
Yeah.
There was research.
This is what. Yeah.
Okay, actually, one of the someone is
And there are then the programs on TV when they talk about the jobs, and they say that if you have all these skills, you can get your job.
yes, but again, this is a concept. This is research. Isn't it a problem that we're, as researchers, we do research on what we do, but we don't do research on what is required of us to do? And by the market, this is a question that I have.
But I think the marketing department they have, researchers. Let's say, researchers for marketing.
Yeah, but this like
they could select the requirements they need.
No. But we research through the programs that some of the papers that say that the students lack these skills. That's why we search which strategy can develop these skills.
Yeah.
And we are specialized in methods of teaching. We know the skills that are required for the teachers, for the researchers, for.
So I think I personally still believe in Kurdistan. We need to do more research about the requirements for the job market. Not what the literature does, but because we're just saying job market, everyone says job market, we actually don't know what the job market really requires.
No, they did what they did. They did the general requirements and specific requirements.
Yes.
They made some researches on what they need. I don't know which college did that. What the companies need, what the factories need, what the market needs, all the things that they need, all the skills that they need. I think there's.
When you are teaching conversation classes, for example, in one of the classes, choose to teach them how to go to interviews. What do you teach them? You teach them these. You ask them
Communications.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Like right now, what is the biggest job market in the world in Kurdistan?
What is what?
What is the biggest employer in Kurdistan?
Private
Private
school. Private sector.
Is it private or public?
Private. Public.
No employment. That's why people are. That's why.
Now, if you go to we don't know. Exactly. Exactly. But we're doing research about what we need to change without actually knowing.
Yeah.
So there's this thing. We might want to see that it's not any.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Again, yes.
Private section based on skills or personalization.
Exactly. So basically, what I mean is, as teachers, as researchers in education, we're just running after something. without actually making sure that something is real or not real.
We
That's
just think, we just think.
You should.
because it's involved.
Okay, you can do it.
Of course. Yes, of course. And that, but just wanted to point that, that's one. So there is an assumption. There is an assumption about the job market. Obviously, when you talk about problem-based, there are assumptions about who a teacher is. So the definition of teachers and teaching. So what is the assumption of how we define teachers and teaching in problem-based learning, and also in terms of what learning is, and also what is knowledge in the problem-based learning process or methodology. So that's that. What are the assumptions in terms of teaching, learning, and epistemology?
We can search for our
And also when if problem-based learning is a strategy, how can we make sure that it doesn't contradict the other strategies that happen in the same academic year, the same classroom? Because this has assumptions, another methodology has other assumptions. When we say we just use it as a strategy, what if today I tell my students, okay, so let me create a quick picture. I believe problem-based learning assumes that learning is not unidirectional, like from the teacher to the student. It doesn't assume that. What if the next class that I teach is not problem-based and actually assumes problem? What does that create?
In one class, there are different types of learners, and every one of them needs different type of styles, learning styles and teaching styles. So in one lecture, I may use problem-based, in the other lecture, I may use lecture.
Yeah,
It depends on the subject, on the aim of, and on the types of the learners.
When I did this research, I used to teach linguistics, 4-year linguistics. Can I do that? That is
In some of the subjects,
in this topic, no, it's very difficult because as a teacher, you have to explain everything. Okay, you ask them to do a few things. You take a few steps from this strategy and use them, but not all of them because it's not appropriate to the topic.
Take into consideration the nature of the topic we explain that day, the students' differences, because there are differences, their abilities, their thinking, their requirements, and also the topic itself and the difficulty, the nature of the topic. It's difficult, whether it needs explanation, whether it needs lecturing, or it needs some other strategies.
Okay, thank you so much for your amazing presentation.
It was the most interactive.
Thanks for this.
So, Professor, thank you.
Thank you. Very much.
نمسخر کردن از دکتر ولا نمسخر اون شو می‌خواستم ان شاء الله لا كشات انك سكافك الى سبيكر ويب
An assistant professor.
Our next presentation is there are 3 more presentations actually. There are 3 more presentations. Sayın Mao, but I think they are not here. Dr. Haidar is he here? I think he's not. Dr. Haidar, find him.
Teaching and learning right skills. So, flash disk.
Flash olsa o da. Sıfır ediyor. Yani o zaman sakın devam et. Tamam.
Vamos sacar um ponto para ser da minha melhor
لا
Flash değil mi olmasa?
Vamos sacar um ponto.
بس من معهم
Nasıl tutmayın olsa?
ليرني فلاش
Nasıl yani?
والله بيسار فلاش 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 فلاش
Flash olmasa? Flash değil.
جا والله
Aslında getirgen ama falan yaptılar. Hocam
وين اليوم وصل؟
sana bir dereceyle bitiriyor. Opa. Hadi video başlayalım. Bak. And so now this thing. Could you bang it? Diga mais que lembra.
زين كنترول الكاميرا ولا ماوس كرة كيف خد انا دي
Ama sen ne içiyor bu ekran?
كفلة شكل بس
VESAL template.
اوزان صار كونسبت VESAL وزارة الشيء زمان صار
Okay, we stick to the program, and our next presentation is Karen Kennedy of the plan. Is interested in literature and which are the literature sides of the same coin. And now the stage is yours.
Hello everyone. So my presentation is about teaching learning by literature. So first of all, we should know that language and literature are the two sides of the same coin. Actually, I'm doing the literature review, reviewing 40 articles written between 2011 and 2021. So this is the content of my article: introduction, methodology, discussion, conclusion, user research, and references. So in the introduction, for the research background, we should know that recently, in the last 10 years, there is an immense use of literary genres in EMT platforms. And this is due to the positive effects of literary texts on language learners, especially in terms of motivation and engagement. And we should also know that we cannot learn a language just by focusing on abstraction circles. We should find a table of practice and application, and that is efficient in this sense. So in literary texts, what we see or do we already language constructions and structures. That is the practical side of language. And what we do in linguistics, we are reading the language constructions and structures. That's why also sections and drawings. So my review is based on two questions. The first one, what are the benefits of using teaching environment skills? And the second question, what are the benefits of using environment skills? As for the methodology of my tutorial, so it's been part of the research design and samples were purposeful, and the researcher by himself is the student. And for data collection, actually, I'm using secondary sources like articles, and I'm using 20 most recent articles between 2011 to 2021. And there is a kind of semantic analysis for data collected. And now let's talk about the research. So we should know that reading and writing are separate acts. And by this means, we come to a conclusion that literary texts should be integrated into the language learning system tools. And because these materials like literary texts actually enrich both our instruction methods and create cognitive activities inside our classroom. So they make actually our classroom more vivid and our teaching style more basic. And in terms of language and human creativity, the best medium to find or to be found is literature. So literature is by its essence, what's at the heart of literature is creativity and imagination. And these are unlimited in terms of this scope of creation, unlike literacy texts. And what we find in literary texts are events, just like when you read a short story or when you read a novel, what you find there are events, short stories or novels. So let's say in fiction. And in plays or drama, there are scenes, whether the plays are prose or poetry. And in poetry, you will see speakers. So all of these, the events, scenes, and speakers in novels, short stories, and poems, they involve and provoke readers emotionally. And they turn or they make the readers to participate in the process of reading with their own experience and mentality and intellectual capacity. We can say with their emotions and cognitions. And here they will use a kind of literary story that's called reader response. So they respond to the text based on their experience. And we can use another theory that's called research theory. That is how readers receive and perceive text based on their experience. That's called reader response theory and perception. So here we should know that there are two approaches of using literary texts in classrooms. The first one is language-based approach, and it's like focusing on linguistics terms and linguistic structures and constructions. And the second one is reader response approach. So we can use both in our language platforms. And the heart of my discussion is that we should know that, as I said at the beginning of my presentation, that literature, language and literature are the two sides of the same coin. So now we are living at the second decade of the 21st century, and we are all concerned about using 21st century skills in our classrooms. And these skills are communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. So when we use literature in our classrooms, we are integrating all these 21st century skills. And we also include, integrate, and incorporate Bloom's taxonomy, that's remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, and creating. For example, you assign your students to read a short story, then you will ask them to do a presentation or to write a letter. So what the students should do, they should read the story, remember what's going on in the story, and understand the events of the story. Because we said that in short stories there are events. events when the characters interact with each other. So it's all done through events. And then apply. You can teach them, for example, the elements of short story or fiction. They will apply these elements and then read the short story based on these elements. That's like, what are the characters, major and minor characters? What are the themes, main themes of the short story? And what's the plot of the short story? And what's the setting? And finally, how to apply the story or in response. Then after applying these, they can create, for example, by creating a presentation, a paragraph or an essay or a group work. So this is all to raise the highest level of thinking. And this is done. And the essence of the representation to random taxonomy is actually two. It's to improve the students' level of thinking from lower level of thinking to higher level of thinking. So that's what do we mean by thinking. So that's the last part of the 21st century. And the summary of the findings of the 20 articles that I am reviewing. So literature should be used in teaching and learning practices due to these reasons. These three texts are regarded as authentic materials. They are real materials written by native speakers. And these literary texts involve students. They engage students. They motivate students to read and write and rewrite and read more. And the students will be culturally aware when they read, for example, a novel written about a specific problem or a specific culture. And they also, literary texts develop language skills like reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And by reading short stories, students will be able to learn how to interpret it, how to talk about it. It's just like returning back to Bloom's taxonomy, remembering, understanding, applying, and analyze. They will learn how to analyze. And their command of language will be developed also. And finally, what we learn is they literary texts improve and develop students' emotional and social skills. Because what do you find in literary texts, whether they are novels, short stories, plays, and poems? For example, in short stories there are characters, in plays there are actors, and in poems there are speakers. And this kind of speaker, character, or actor tells you about his or her emotional and social problems and how he or she deals with these kinds of problems. And when you read the short story, the novel or the play or the poem, you delve into his or her experience and see their worlds with your eyes. And so that's what I mean by emotional and social skills. And above all, what's so important, or what's the heart of the current literature, is that students will learn the language structures and constructions unconsciously without being so aware that this structure and I should use this. They will read or see, and they will learn these constructions and structures unconsciously. These structures can be grammatical constructions and structures, punctuation, style, unity, coherence, meaning of wording, context, and others. And how to apply, how to use short stories or literary texts in our classroom. So actually students should be even detailed guides in the form of statements. Pre-reading and pre-writing. For example, you are going to assign a short story and students are required to do a paragraph about that short story. So you should explain and give them in details in pre-reading or pre-writing. Because we said that reading are unsettled acts, so they should be given details how to do this because they are beginners, they don't know how to read and how to write, so you should give them details the first time. And then while reading and while writing, guides should be given, and post reading and post writing. So simply they will read a text and be something out of their reading. So you will see that sometimes most of the teachers like something that students don't have enough ideas to develop a topic sentence or a thesis. So it's because they don't really reset their brain or surprisingly they don't make their on improve. So this creation can be a paragraph or an essay or a presentation. And actually there's a good British writing and hazard. So he actually offers a lot of activities how to use the feature, but mostly it's language based and you can apply also real response very, very much. Okay. In conclusion, so language instructors are eager to apply Bloom's taxonomy and critical sense skills. Then literature is the best option to include it, or as a separate course, because ELT department should have literature courses. It should not be just language or English courses, or as additional materials to the course. And also using by using literature, learners will go deeper. And for the future research, these are examples and do research. The use of literature, the use of literature, learning, the use of literature, learning, the use of literature in teaching and learning grammar. Recommendations. So the teacher should and that's why teachers, language teachers, they should be trained. How to because we should remember we should not have result using literature in classroom. We should not have to respond externally. As I said, there are two ways of course we should cross learning and we should also not understand how leaders how leaders and certain should not be levels. Finally, your department should have these once the important and these are the as you can see.
Can we keep members to ask questions? It's very good. Thank you. You're interesting. We should be posted on some groups. Agendas behind the meetings. Right. This goes. It might not be understood as the understanding part. So I think it is authentic, but there are challenges. Knowledge of the level is adopting maybe the language should be actual meaning. Because when you say literature, it's something not normal. Yeah. Last year I told you talk about is sort of how finally, what they said most of all, the final year. Yes, was I trust this and in the book was from paragraphs to essays to be written as book. The writer wrote the books. It's very writing is difficult task if to authors. Otherwise, they are very difficult people for us as teachers. So, as you said, we have to tell them how to understand, how to read. Because I usually say, I listen to French, and I spend minutes one day with consciousness, I could understand something. But for 100 days, if you listen to Chinese without conscious, you don't get anything if you cannot make sounds. Well, the problem, I think, is but there is every year when I join the first class of my students, I say before I say you have homework. Say, come on, homework is Thursday. I say, it's very easy. Go home. It's something. So you anyway, you know, penalty in English. Read it, copy paste it, write your it. So, as you said, taking the students interested in writing is very reading is very important. It's very necessary to talk. It should be said. Even if you have an so it should be based on any just in general. How do you define it? Thank you for the presentation.